Let's make these really cool scuba tanks. All right. I really like starting with a vector image and seeing what it looks like in 3D. The problem with this is that it's not perfectly symmetrical. All right. So we're going to be on the diagram and we're going to be off the diagram. And if you're interested in this and you want to follow along, I'll provide a link to this image. And you can do what I'm doing, or you can go off on a tangent. The other thing is that some of these pieces here are really amorphous. Like they don't seem to do anything. So I might change it up a little bit. All right, anyways. I'm in Blender 2.8, and I am going to delete all this stuff. And I'm going to look from the front and hit Shift-A. I'm going to come down to Image Background, and I'm going to find that guy, and we're going to put it in. We've got some other ones to look at as well. All right, so I got that, and I might move it so that it's roughly in the center. All right, I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to choose this little arrow here so that I can turn it off so I can't move that. And I think right from the beginning I am going to create a new collection, and I'm going to call this tank. And I'm going to create it in there. Okay, so I got my 3D cursor there, but we're gonna create that tank. All right, so here we go. Shift-A, mesh, UV sphere, and let's use 18 and 10. All right, let's use 18 and 10. Go into Edit and Wireframe. And let's start scaling this down. And positioning it. All right, something like that. Not wide enough, no. So let's go like this. Okay. Well, if I do that, how's that going to work? The neck of it coming up there. All right, well, that's good enough. Let's box select this bottom stuff and delete those vertices. And then we'll grab those vertices. We're in wireframe, so I'm getting all of them. Looking from the front. And let's extrude down to near the bottom. Down to around there. Okay, let's have a look at this in solid. That's it. Here's the beginning of our tank. Let's come up here. We're going to select that one point. Vertex selection, X, delete that vertex. Look from one, and we're going to extrude that up in a minute. First off, let's close the bottom. So let's hold Shift and Alt and click. You get the whole row of vertices. E and S will come in a little ways. And I'm just going to go face, grid fill. And you could leave it at 4, or you could go for a smaller number. That's going to be fine. Before we move on, let's go 2 to go to edge selection, and Shift Alt and click that edge, and go Control B and pull. And let's put 1, 2, roll your mouse up 2, and we'll get 2 subdivisions in there, or 2 edge loops in there, and deselect, and that'll help with the rounding of that. From front view, let's come up here, zoom in, Shift Alt and click that edge. That'll get the whole edge. Hit the period key to focus on that there. All right, so again, we're off the diagram a little bit. E to extrude, and I'm going to come right up to the top, like that. Okay, I can go into wireframe so you can see a little bit better. Okay, so it looks like that, but that's okay. Now, this piece, there's more to it. There's a threaded part, and there's a probe or whatever that goes down in. I'm going to scale this in till we have close to the diameter of this. So I'm going to go into vertex selection. I find it easier with that stuff selected. I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to go E and S and watch the orange dots until the orange dots are close to the width of that. You know, maybe there. It's a little bit off. And so I have that. I'll go to solid view. And I'm just going to extrude this down a bit. E. I'm just going to pull it down. Now, I'm never going to look down into it, but we could close this. So maybe I will. E and S. And then grid fill. Face, grid fill. It wants to do 4. Let's just let it do its thing. Okay, these are very sharp edges, so let's bevel those. Go to edge selection, Shift Alt and click that edge, and this edge. There we go. And let's bevel that. Control B, pull back. We'll put those, leave it as 2. Deselect. Now, we're going to do a subdivision surface, but you're going to see, because this is a long distance, it's going to be a little bit warped. So let's try that. Okay, come over here. Subdivision surface of 2. And smoothing. I don't know, maybe you don't see it. But it's not quite straight. So I'm going to come in here. And I'm going to throw in 2 edge loops, and I'm going to scale them in the Z. Just to give it a little bit more support in the middle there. So there's tube 1. Now, here's the thing. 3D cursor's right in the middle, right? Oh, by the way, let's look at this. Yeah, it's straighter than in the diagram, but we're going to put this black piece over it later. So if I was to take this and apply a mirror, but set the origin to the 3D cursor, it's not bad, but it's not perfect, but that's what I'm going to be doing. I can leave that there for the moment. Let's look at this. Let's turn off the subdivision surface. Just click this little TV-like thing or monitor. And let's go into edit mode and deselect everything. I got these rings to do. Okay. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to Shift Alt and click one of those edge loops. Shift T to copy it, and P, separate by selection. Go back into object mode and select it if I can find it. Solid view, there it is. Okay. Now, let's turn off the mirror for that and set the origin to geometry, so it's right in the middle of that. Go back into wireframe, pull this down. So there's that edge. I'm gonna pull it right to the bottom of this ring here. Go into edit mode. Select it, E to extrude, pull it up. Like that. So I got a ring there. Let's take this stuff and H to hide it. So I've got that. Go into edit mode. Okay, I've got it all selected. I can be in solid view for this. Okay, I'm going to give this a little bit of thickness. Now you could use solidify, but I'm just going to go E, Alt S, and I'm going to push, and then I'm going to hold Shift, and I'm going to pull back. Say, okay, I want it about that thick, so I'm going in and out, holding Shift, up and down. I go to there. Okay, I've got that. Now before I go any further, I'm going to switch to 3 face selection. Shift Alt and click there on the inside. Get that whole row of faces. X faces. I'm going to get rid of those. Now, I know when I put a subdivision surface on this, it's going to go all weird. All right, so I'm going to do some beveling. 2 for edge selection, this edge, and the bottom edge. Control B, pull. I'm probably okay with just 1, so I'm going to roll my mouse wheel. So I have just 1 segment. There's none, there's 1, right in the middle. Try that. Shade smooth. Look at it and see, is it sharp enough? Let's go Alt H and bring that back. Now I'm going to take this and let's make sure we've got, yeah, we've got 2 subdivisions on there. I could take this and scale it a little bit out. I'm holding Shift just so it's not as embedded. It'll look a little bit better. Okay, so I got 1 there. Let's look from the front. Let's go into wireframe. Let's take this and Shift D, and let's copy it down to here. Somewhere around there, okay? I'm gonna get rid of the mirror for now. Back to just one. Cool. Okay, so we have that so far. Hopefully that's not too sharp, although in reality it would be pretty sharp. Okay, let's look from the front. Now, we're gonna start making this stuff up here. Okay. Instead of bringing in another cylinder, I'm gonna take a piece of this. I am going to Shift Alt and click to get that edge, Shift D, pull it up a little bit, P, separate it by selection, select it, set origin to geometry. All right, it's already got a subdivision surface. I'm going to turn that off for now. Look from one. Now I happen to grab the inside and it's about the right diameter. I'm going to push it down a little bit and go into edit mode. You can't see the thing selected. Maybe a little bit too far. Let's leave it there. It's going to be a little bit too wide for the hole, but we'll adjust that in a bit. Let's hit E to extrude and pull it up to here. Okay. Let's Shift Alt and click that edge. I'm going to push it down in. All right. And this is going to have a subdivision surface, so it'll shrink up a little bit. So we won't worry. I might make this a bit wider later. Okay. Now, as you can see, the diagram, there's like a little disc here, and then there's this. I'm going to protrude stuff straight up. All right. So it's going to go off the diagram here. So you can do whatever it is you want to do if you're doing this, or if you're just watching me. I'm going to do this. I'm going to Shift Alt and click that edge. I'll look from here. E and S, I'll pull it in. I had something else selected, and that's a problem. I gotta make sure that I don't have extra. No, I'm okay. Shift Alt to click that edge from there. I'm actually going to go into wireframe and vertex selection. Then I can see my dots as I scale. E and S, I'm going to pull them in a little ways. E, I'm going to come up. I'm going to go to the similar height. E and S, I'm going to come out. Now, this part here is a little wider than the cylinder, so I'm going to scale it out. And then I'm going to come up, E, to the top. All right. And then we're going to need to close it off. Hit the period key to focus on that. There's no guides for this, so I'm just going to go E and S. I'm going to come in a little ways. And then I'm going to come down, E. And then I'm going to come in, E and S. And then I'm going to grid fill. Let's see, it wants to do 4. And that's going to be my piece. Right, again, it's off the diagram, but it's something. All right, edge selection, I'm going to bevel the sharp edges. All these edges here, not the bottom one. All right, so look at that. Control B, pull back. I'll put 1 or 2. All right, let's turn on the subdivision surface. And shade smooth. We got a little bit of cleaning up to do. Now, there's a couple of different ways that you could do this. Some people would take that edge and put that back on, and they go Shift D and do a mean crease like that, and then it cut down really the number of polys. I don't always find it gives the results that I want for that. I prefer, but I know it ends up using more polys, but I'm going to bring those in like there. And I'm going to do this. I'm just going to do it the way that I always do it. I'm going to do it like that. Okay. And hopefully this edge is okay there. Alright, so we have that. Let's just Shift H. Because that doesn't have a face, it is a nice sharp edge. So Alt H, bring that back. It's safe once in a while. Okay. Now, we're going to do this part, and this part is a little bit different. The diameter of this pipe is not the same as this. There's a typical way of doing this where you use the shear tool, and you angle it this way and that way, and then you extrude it. But that's for a T-joint where the diameter of the pipe coming perpendicular is equal to the diameter of this. This one is smaller, so I'm going to do it a different way. So I'm going to go into this. Before I do, I'm going to pull this down for a second. This is sphere 3, okay? I'm going to make a copy of this. Shift D. That's going to be sphere 4, and I'm going to hide it. So I've got it in case I make a mistake on this. Okay, I'm going to go on a wireframe. And here's what I'm going to do. Turn off the subdivision surface. We're going to make a hole. Control R. Bring an edge loop a little bit above and a little bit below. All right, so I've got edge loops there. Turn to side 3. You can't see anything. Just they're my edge loops. Okay. Now, Shift Alt and click those edges and bring the 3D cursor there. Shift S, cursor selected. I'm going to bring something else right in here, and I want it centered. I'm going to bring in a circle. Shift A, circle. And I'm going to choose 14 vertices. And you'll see why I do that in a moment. I'm going to rotate Y 90. And I'm going to bring it out in front. I'm going to switch to 1. And I'm going to scale it down. Now this circle is a part of this object. I'm editing both of them. And I'm going to make that circle smaller than the size, the position of my edge loops. Bring it in close, but not right in. All right, maybe right there. That's going to be the diameter of the pipe. Let's look from 3, and I want it inside of this stuff. Now, if at all possible, I would like these dots to rest pretty close to those edges. I think I could probably do it this way. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I've got that circle and it's out in front. I'm in 3. I'm not going to do this in wireframe. I'm going to do it in solid. What I'm going to do is I'm going to trace this circle with the knife tool. I'm going to have to do some other work. We're also going to have to put an edge loop in the middle. So I'm going to go Control R, click. That's on my cylinder. Okay? Click on this point, and I'm just sort of tracing this. It doesn't have to be perfect. All right? I'm just going to go around the circle. This guy. No, I don't want it there. All right, I get rid of that point. I hope I can get rid of that point. This guy, this guy, this guy, and back to there, and enter. All right, find this circle and get rid of it. Now, 3. We've got some extra points here. All right, and didn't make a perfect circle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this point, and I'm going to go J for join. I'm going to take this one and this one, J for joint, omit that one, this one, and this one, and this one, come on, and this one, J, this one and this one, J, this one and this one, J. I'll be deleting some of these points. This one's already on the line. This one and this one, this and this. Okay, those are this one and this one, this one and this one, and those two, and those two, and those two. Okay, just have a look at that. All right, so we've joined up some edges, but we also have some extra vertices. That's okay. What we're going to do is we're going to switch to 3, face selection. Grab all of these faces and X faces, get rid of them. Go back to 1. Now these vertices that are just floating freely, we are going to try and get rid of them. X, dissolve vertices. we have a hole, all right? And this will look fine. Many people will then go GG, bring this up to try and create a perimeter that looks like a hole for, GG edge slide, for just a nicer sort of circle. You can even come up higher with these, because these ones are a little bit tough to move. This one, GG out. This one, GG. Don't just move them, go GG along the edge. Let's take these two. GG, come down a nice ways. And then these two, GG. So you kind of, it looks like a, I don't know, a stomate of a plant, if you know what that is, a little hole. Shift Alt and click that edge. Let's look from the front. E to extrude, pull it out. Make this straight, SX0, XX0. Deselect, bring an edge loop back here, not too tight, and one here, again, not too tight. Let's have a look at that in subdivision surface. All right, and that does go through. So that's one method of doing a smaller diameter pipe that seems to sort of connect or come out. All right, it is not the exact same diameter as this. Now we can move this if we want, if we go into wireframe and turn off that because it's too complicated. Okay, and you can see, you could make some more adjustments if you wanted, but if you take the whole thing here, we could just slide it up and whatever. Let's say that's as close as we can get. Let's Shift Alt and click there. Let's go E and S, come in. E will come out. And we'll just build some stuff. E and S, come out. E. E and S, come in. These tubes don't all have to be the same diameter. It doesn't matter. Just make something cool. Now, I'm going to be mirroring this. So here's what I'm going to do. E and S, come out. E, and come over. Maybe I'll come over to around the middle of that. And here's another place where we're going to go off the diagram. Let's put that back on. And looking solid. We're going to have to clean that up. Yeah, and then I'll clean that up before we mirror it across. All right. I'm going to go to 2, and I'm going to bring some edge loops in. This is the way I like to do it. And it does create more polys, but I'm more comfortable with this than using mean crease. Did I bring one down for this one? No, I didn't, so we'll decide if I need that one. X dissolve edges. I could just bevel these and be doing the same thing, bring them in by hand. Okay, now there's where we're going to mirror it from. Let's just have a look at that. And save. All right, so to mirror this, I'm going to go into edit mode and Shift Alt and click that edge. Shift S and bring the 3D cursor there. There's my 3D cursor, and I'm going to switch, set the origin to the 3D cursor. All right. Now I'm going to click mirror and clipping, and let's see how far off the diagram it is. You see? So, I can also mirror this again. There we go. Set the origin of 3D cursor, and we get both of those. I could take this and this. I could really join those together and set the origin to the 3D cursor and mirror those as well. And we have that. And we're off the diagram, but we're going to start to just create what we want. think we should celebrate by putting on the cavity. Oh gosh, that looks nice. I really like that. Right, so we'll stick with. I feel like it's shading though. That's a better shading than I'll be able to do with my materials. All right, I like that. It's simple modeling, but this is what it looks like. All right, what are we gonna do next? This side will have to be modified. It's hard to tell what's going on there. Let's have a look over here. It's hard to tell what's going on there. I would really like to do this black thing coming right off the top instead of that. And then this coming off maybe with like we did this with a circle. Maybe we could do that. And this piece, I feel like it's maybe we could project another pipe back and then do that. I'm not sure. What if we should just come over here and do something here? I don't like this piece. I don't know what that does. I really don't. I should have thought of this, because maybe what I might have done instead of doing this is I might have taken this piece, copied it up. Well, let's create first of all a new collection. And let's call this like valve. And let's take this and move that to the valve area. Okay, so I got that. And I got the tank, and I can hide the tank if I want to. I am thinking about doing this. I'm thinking of, let's go into wireframe. Let's turn that off. Let's even turn the mirror off. I was thinking that I could take all of this piece. I have to cut all this off. And snap it on. So I might have to make this a bit of a different shape. I'll show you what I mean. I think I'm gonna copy this, and I'll just hide that one, and I'll always work on this one. So I make sure. So I got one there, and I got one there. Let's see if I can do this. What I'm thinking of doing. I was thinking I'll put an edge loop here. Let's scale Z0 to make it straight. Bring it down, not too close, like that. And then it's not necessarily going to go very easily. Let's take this up. Let's get it out of the way for now. Let's put another edge loop here. And let's break this out. Let's get those out of there. Okay, let's move this. I'm just messing around here now. Let's shift D, let's bring that up. Let's try this. Rotate Z 180. Let's turn on snap to vertex, or do I want to snap to edge maybe? That edge there. Not quite. That's all right. I could still do it, and we'll just pretend. And then we'll pretend from there. We can't go much closer than that. Let's try it. Let's shift alt and click that edge, and no, you can just box select them anyhow. Let's go Control E, bridge edge loops, and we'll click merge. And then I'll actually even, do I want to dissolve that edge? Yeah, I do actually, because I can bring it down a little further. And then I'm going to bring it down. That's as close as I can go. And then this thing can come down. Way to go way off the diagram. I got merge on. Way off the diagram, man. Way. That's what I wanted to do, though. If that's the case, I have to just wing it now. So, all right, let's just do. Let me just do something then. My screencast keys probably went off, eh? Did they go off? No, they're still working. Okay. Then I'll bring this back. Will I? What am I going to do about that cylinder? No, I do want to bring it back so that I can take just these guys and bring them out like this. So I'm still trying to do some of this. Okay, E and S is quite big. No, it doesn't go up that high though. Well, maybe like that. I'll do something like this. And I'm going to stop for a moment and just catch my breath here and see what I've done. I've done that. All right. All right, you want me to bevel that instead? Control B. 1. We live with that. Okay, it's different, but it's the way it is. And then there's something else on there. Let's leave that for the moment. My point simply is, that's the new one. This is the old one. So what I want is not this side. So I could, that's the new one, right? I could just take this one and it was rotated around the 3D cursor, right? Rotate Z 180. So pop it right into place, and then I take that back. Now, yeah, so that I don't need a mirror on that. And that one doesn't have a mirror, and so we're back to that, except they're not joining, but I can fix that. So I would have that, and then I'll use that to build this. I'll just make an adjustment. So okay, so what to do here? I'm going to join these. Oh, that's not what we want. All right, we got that. I mean, I can keep going, but this is starting to get a little ridiculous time-wise. How about we just there's no way that I would want to move that over, is there? Well, we're gonna have to make an adjustment to this, and that we can do. Oh no, it's not that piece. That's that. This is another piece. That's pretty good. But I do want that. Okay, let's switch back though to median point. Let's pull that down. So I want a little gap. I mean, it's essentially what I'm going to do is this. That's what I wanted. You know, just a nice big piece. It's about almost as wide as the neck of that. So I can make it a bit smaller, and you know, and we'd have this. I could do something with that, and then I think we'll call it quits for now. And hopefully you're enjoying this and it's making some sense. All right, let's grab all this stuff here, and let's delete those faces and grab this edge, and let's have a look and see. Let's look in wireframe and one. Let's scale this in some more, and then I'm gonna hit extrude to make this part E and S. Let's look in solid. And the tube's going to come out, so I am going to scale a bit more, and I'm going to come down in the Z, and I'm not going to close it at this point. We'll just throw a couple of edge loops in, like that. We'll do the typical ones up here. We can get our tube coming out of there. We can throw a dial on, and we'll figure out some of the other stuff. Okay, so it's really simple modeling, but I seem to be making some mistakes and making some changes, but that's going to be it for the time being.